Hi everybody, this is Ryan Griffin from griffinanimation.com. Today I just decided to make a video about painting weights on a face. I've been in the video game industry for quite some time now, and most recently I worked on Skylanders Swap Force, and I realized that I've had to rig, I don't even know, maybe a couple hundred faces in my career. Um, and one of the most difficult, you know, parts of any skinning job is really the face, especially if you have a lot of joints or a dense mesh. Um, Today I'm going to be using a pretty simple mesh. This is something I built just as a little side project, and I'm going to show you how to skin this up. I'm not going to really talk about rigging or joint placement very much. I'm really just going to focus on skinning. I will show you this image here, though. This is from Jeremy Ernst and his uh, presentation on fast and efficient facial rigging. Here we show his joint setup, which kind of mimics what is used for motion capture. Um, and this is pretty good. One of the things I change sometimes, depending on how my mesh is set up, is I'll take these two corner joints and slide those out and remove this one. This is often the case if I have maybe a lot of geometry and something running down the center of these two edges here, because that center edge might be completely weighted to the corner joint, where these two outer edges could be sharing weight between the upper and lower joints. And when you pull in the edge to make like an O shape, you'll get this pinch or bump here. So sometimes I rely on pulling my corners in by using two joints, and then that middle edge will just kind of lag behind a little, which is a much more favorable look. Okay, so for this demo, I've kept things pretty simple. I'm really just focusing on the mouth for this. The same techniques I use for the mouth can be applied to the eyelids and the eyebrows. Um, so yeah, fairly simple setup. Normally I'd have something for the noses and the cheeks, that sort of thing. But this will give you an idea where to go. So to start off, we are going to want to skin this thing. So skin, bind, skin, smooth bind. Okay. And if we pop into our side view here, the first thing we're going to notice, let me paint skin weights here. I seem to be having some, always, when I'm trying to do the demo right. Looks like I had a little problem with my bind skin here. 1 second. Detach skin. Just grab all these joints again. Skin. Okay. Oh, I should mention also, in this demo I am using a maximum of 4 influences. No, actually I should make sure that's locked at that too. A lot of game engines are only going to accept 4 influences. Some of them, maybe 8, depending on what's allowed by your engineers. But for our purposes, we're going to be using 4. There we go. And paint skin weights. Okay. So the first thing, I want to make sure that the whole body here is flooded 100% to the neck. And the reason I'm doing that is I don't have a spine or anything in here. So I really just want to make sure I'm holding all that weight somewhere as a starting point. The next thing I'm going to do is go in and define the weights for my head. And once again, I'm just going to flood this. This time I'm going to use the component editor, find the head, grab this long list of ERTs, and set that to 1. Okay. Great. So now you should see here that we have this going on right there. Okay. Next thing we're going to want to do is get some verts again, and just very roughly here, I'm going to define the area for my jaw. So I'm in the side view right now to do this. So something along these lines right here. We'll clean this up again in a second. Open my component editor again. Grab all the verts for the jaw. And set those to 1. Okay. And just pop back over here into my perspective view. That looks like it turned out pretty good. And then finally I'll go in and just kind of clean up little details here, such as these upper teeth. You know, I want to make sure those are 100% weighted up to my head here. Grab all those, set those to 1. Sorry I keep doing this here, but I have a very small window to show this to you in. So, and I'm going to grab my lower teeth. Let's see if I can find my tongue here. And here I'm just holding shift and using the side arrow to select all these words. And then I'm going to set all that to follow the jaw. Okay, and if we look at this again, there we go. So we got something like this going now. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to only focus on the area I intend to start painting on. Okay, so I'll grab an edge loop here around the lips. I'll grow up my selection, again just using shift and the side arrow. A little bigger there. And then I'm going to go to show, isolate select, view selected. Okay, so now we just have something like this going on. Maybe I want to prune these out a little more. There we go. Just to make this a little bit neater for me. Grab one more loop there. And again, show, isolate, select, and oops. Show, isolate, select, and move selected objects. There we go. Okay, so now we just have this nice little area that we're going to work on. Okay, another thing I suggest is during this process, right now I don't have any controls, so I would be relying completely on the bones, but either make sure you're setting keyframes in here and set your default pose at frame 0, frame 1, and here I have a little bit of a problem. There we go. Make sure my keys are snapped. There we go. So make sure you have a default pose set at frame 1. Alternatively, I'm using the Red 9 pose library here, pose manager, sorry, which is also pretty cool. You can put some poses in here and load them up as you see fit. Right now you see the jaw looks pretty rough, right? That's also just going to happen because I don't really have a rig on this, so the corner joints and everything are it's going to continue to look kind of rough for a little bit. Anyways, next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab all my influences, and I am going to, my goodness, this tool window takes up a lot of space, so I'm going to lock those. I'm just going to grab my head and my jaw and unlock those. And then with, you know, a smoothing brush or however you want to do this part, you can just make this relationship between the head and the jaw look a little bit nicer. Smooth those out a little bit there. until you start to get kind of a nice, O shape going on here. Smooth the inside just a tad there. Don't take too much time on this and bore you all to death. And let's just pop onto the head for a second. And you might even want to get in here and set your opacity down pretty low and just kind of add in some of the head a little bit just to get a nicer looking shape going on. There we go. And then we'll just clean that up there a little bit with the smooth brush. Normally I don't use the smooth brush a lot, to be honest. I just don't get really exactly what I want, and especially when I get into the polish portion. But for speed, we can't beat just doing a little bit of smoothing, right? Okay, so that looks fairly decent. So the next thing I do is I weight everything 100%, basically. I'm going to go through each one of these influences, kind of pick a range, and weight that up 100%. And you know what? I see one error here. I have an extra bone. I'm just going to remove that and delete it. There we go. I duplicated that corner joint twice. Sorry about that. Okay, so we'll go into vertex mode again. And I'm always going to overshoot. Okay, so I know that I want the corner of the center upper lip take advantage of this whole area. Now at the end of it, I'm probably only going to really have influence kind of down here and sort of bleeding out. But the idea here is to set everything to 1 so that we have nice, predictable, hard weighting going on. Okay, so set that to 1. Next I'll come in here, I'll grab this whole area, and we will go and set that to lip up 1, lip up 1. There we go. And again, I apologize for all the toggling, but I can only show things in this little box here. So, and during the stage, it's kind of important for me to kind of think, well, here I went up 2 edges, and those are kind of bleeding off to here. I try to keep it sort of even how far I go out the whole way around the mouth. I usually add a little extra to the corners because they tend to require a little more influence. But I'm going to make some alterations to that just because of the mesh I'm working with here. We'll grab these 2. And we'll just go ahead and weight that to the lip corner. There we go. And then finally come down here, and I'm going to dive in a little extra more here. And yeah, there we go. Lip down. L lip. Lip down. Great. And then since I only have I have a joint over here and a joint over here, the center area is actually going to be influenced by both at the base level to get a nice smooth transition. So I'm actually going to grab our lip down as well, give that a value of 0.5. Okay. So now, if we go back and we look at our skinning, object mode, paint skin weights, we're going to see something along these lines, right? Everything's nice and solid. And that's what we want. So we can finish off this stage now by sort of blending the weights a little bit, right? So here we have L lip down, 100% on this. Maybe we want to start taking its influence out towards the mouth corner. So I'll grab those verts that are associated with that. And here we're going to find our lip down. It looks like some of these are already partially influenced by that. Lip down. Oh, I see. Set that to that. And actually, we're going to bring in the lip corner a little bit. Give this a weight of 0.25. And then if we go and look at this row right here, as an alternative, you could do all this with the brush tool as well. I just find this to be a little bit more precise. I think that comes down to just kind of what you prefer, but so we'll set this to 0.5, and then we want to grab just this row right here. Just check that. Yeah, don't actually want that one. And I'm doing this in loops, as you can see here. I'm trying to get that whole loop around there. And we're going to want the lip down to have an influence of like 0.25. Okay, that's our primary lip corner. I'm going to still have some lip corner on there. And this sort of beckons to what I was talking about. So, you know, what I probably do in this situation, like I was saying, you might get that bulge with just the one lip corner joint. So generally what I'm going to want to do here is this row, we call these our primary corner rows, okay? So maybe that top one, I want to take the L lip up. Let me find that one here. L, if you spot it, holler. Lip up. I'll just give this like a 0.15 maybe. And then the one below it, this guy right here. Oops. And how far out did I go with that? Anyway, just pop in here real quick and check something out. Lip corner, lip corner. Yeah, so I didn't go down quite that far. Actually, I probably want to though. I'll get rid of this guy. Whoops. Sorry, fat fingers today. Lip corner. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to make sure these are all one because I want to bring that out one more. And then we're going to take our lip down, lip down, and give that the same value, 0.15. Alright. And then we'll go back up into here. Now, the cool part about this, I mean, it seems like it's still a lot of work, but you'll see that once we're done, we'll get some pretty accurate results, and it's really not too bad. So here we have lip up taking all the weight. So we want to find lip corner, give a little weight back to that. In this case, and this is, you know, this is the art part, right? I mean, we're ultimately trying to get sort of a nice rounded shape, and you can even use this slider over here to sort of figure out where you want to go with that. All right. So maybe in this case, lip corner might end up with just a nice 0.45, something along those lines. And then we'll probably even just bring a little bit of that lip corner into this next row. Okay. Give it like a 0.1. looks pretty good. And then at this point I'm actually going to lock the lip corner for just a moment because I want to bring some of this center lip into the same row, but I don't want to undo what I just did with the lip corner. So we're going to grab joint, I'm going to grab the lip up and just slide to see what that looks like. We're not going to see too much difference here. Give that maybe 0.3. There we go. We could bring some of this area into the lip up. Probably right here we're going to end up smoothing this area out because of the shape I created here. But I think for now that's pretty good basis to work from. So let's take a look at this again. It's important to remember we're only going to do half of the face, and then we're going to mirror our weights. So, and we'll see some problems probably. Looks like maybe right here, that sort of thing. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so next up, I'm going to show my joints. I'm going to turn on my auto key, select all of my joints, and I'll just make sure I set a key here at the beginning, which it looks like I have already, but and are we showing joints here, or am I just not seeing them for some reason? Pardon me for a moment while I find the joints. Sorry, just pause for a minute to figure out why my joints aren't displaying. I actually know why that is, yeah. It's because of the isolate select. So at this point, actually, well, we're going to leave that off. We're just going to, I'm going to move into the outliner here and move my joints around a little bit. So if I take my L lip down, and making sure I moved ahead a few frames, okay, I can move that down a bit. And you'll notice I have rotations on my joints. That's very bad. I kind of rushed and just threw them in for, well, it's not very, it's not ideal. But I kind of rushed and threw this together. So what I'm doing now is just kind of pulling them out, just to get sort of a pose that is, pardon me, thinking and working at the same time is hard. Just a pose that shows a lot of, opposites. I push that one up, so I want to push this one down. And that way I can just kind of see what I'm getting immediately. And for the most part, this isn't too bad, right? We seem to be getting some pretty good blending between the lip joints already. The real thing we're having trouble with now is you see how this is, bunching up into there and stuff, and that's just because all this is weighted to 1. Okay, so what we want to do at this point is, and you could do this with a smooth brush, you could do this again just by vert position for this. I think we're just going to use a little bit of smoothing. So first thing I want to do is lock all my joints, and then one at a time I'm going to take like joint, jaw, and I'll take the lip down and I'm going to unlock that. Okay, so now nothing else is going to get disturbed except for my jaw and my lip down. I take my smoother here and just start have something, opacity is turned way down, and just start smoothing that out, pushing towards that pose, smoothing this out a little bit. And actually for this, let me just close my jaw real quick. I'm at frame 5. Just going to grab my jaw. I'll load the pose up. Oops. Oh. Sorry about that. did them all. I was not sure how that pose eyebrow was going to react there. Bring this up again, lip down again, lip up. Oh, that's lit up, lip up. I see something weird's happening there. And lip. Oh, goodness. There we go. There we go. Something weird was happening over there when I was moving the controller, so I'm just going to check on that real quick. It looks like I might have just messed up my weights a little bit there. Boop, 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 boop. Lip corner, 8.5. I did. Let me set lip corner back to 1. This is a good time to catch it though, so. I'm going to turn this block off. There we go, and then I actually wanted that on L lip up. 5. Oops, I'm going to turn this one off to 0.15. There we go. Sorry, pardon me while I putz around here. There we go. I don't have controls, which makes this all a little bit more tricky. But okay, so now I do believe, you know, I never got that jaw to close the way I want it to. We'll just do it like this. I don't really want to see what's happening with the jaw right now because I'm really just focusing on the lips, and I don't want to see what the jaw is doing at the moment. So just go back into here. Okay, so let's again just make sure all of these guys. Wow, having UI troubles here. Apologize once again. This tiny little screen. Okay, just make sure that I locked up these after I played around with them. There we go. So yeah, lip down and jaw. That's what we're focusing on. So smooth brush, just cleaning that up a little bit. Here, getting that influence to play a little bit nicer. Some pretty extreme stuff out of that. This is probably just because of the way I form my geometry for the most part. And then we'll go ahead and lock the lip down. And little things like this we're going to clean up in the last stage, just when that happens. Unlock this. Just go back to this pose for a moment. Start smoothing this out a little bit. And there will be like a final pass too. And, you know, see here with the corner, we're actually getting rid of some of that mess that I had originally seen. Okay. Now we still want to make sure we're maintaining that like 100% influence kind of over here. We don't want the jaw or the head really affecting anything in these inner loops. So you see it's still pretty clean here. We really just want to make sure that this is blending out into the head and the jaw. Real nice when the lips actually move. There we go. A little more of this here. We start to get some nice stuff there. We're going to lock this one up now. We're going to look at the L lip up 1. Yeah, okay. Go back into here. We're going to unlock this thing. I can see right away I probably just want to, I'm sorry, at this point also I want to unlock my head. I really wanted that unlocked while I did the corner as well, so I'm going to unlock this again for a second. Okay, you see here I have some Where'd it go? Yeah, I just have a little noise up here I didn't really want. Fix that up some. Our jaw is actually coming up into here, which I actually don't want. So now we're moving into the upper lip joint, so I can actually lock the jaw again, make sure the head is unlocked. I'm going to lock the lip corner and go to the L lip up, unlock that. Right away I see I probably want a little more influence on the head up here, so I'll just add a little of that into there. And then I'll come in here, look at my pose, maybe get halfway into it, and then just start cleaning this up as well. There we go. And I'll lock the lip up, and I'll grab, so the L lip up, and I'll unlock the lip up. And again, with the head, I'm just going to add a little bit of influence into there. Just kind of blend that out some. This is the artistic part, right? So, and then we'll go ahead and just kind of hit this with the smoothing again. Something. It's that guy. All right. Bring that in there just a little more. Switch back to the lip up here real quick. Clean these up. Right there. Okay. And then there's going to be a point where we're going to do the inside in a very similar fashion. But you can see here, it's looking pretty decent now. A little pinching here and there where we don't want it maybe. But already we've got, you know, a pretty decent looking deformation happening here. Probably a little extreme, mainly because of my poses, but you'll see some areas where maybe you want a little more influence down in there. But this just gets us a nice quick pass. So I'm going to show isolate, select, turn that off again. Let me just turn my joints off here. Okay, and then I'm going to go in again. Oops. Select this edge loop. Grow that selection out pretty far. Show, isolate, you select it. Okay, and then I can object mode this. Paint skin weights tools. And I probably could have saved some time by kind of like doing these all at once actually. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, so now we're going to blend this out a little more. And we'll just kind of go through this process one more time. And this is mainly for lip curling is when you're going to see this. So actually let's take this here. I'll lip up. Rotate this up a little bit. So when we do this curling shape, that's something else you're going to want to look out for. That we're just not pulling up too much of this from the inside. We'll unlock L lip up. But this is sort of the quick and dirty version. You can certainly take a little more time with this and get some more accuracy out of it. Alright, and lock that guy up. We're going to take our lip corner. When I do my lip corner, I'm just going to go ahead and unlock the head and the jaw. So, and the lip corner is a pretty big one because we're always going to be pushing it pretty far out. So we do want to make sure that we have enough space in here to accommodate that. Otherwise, you're going to get this mesh trying to, push through or not going far enough and just give you really terrible shapes. There we go. And we'll lock up our lip corner. Actually, just Get that a little bit more. There we go. A little more there. This is starting to take our jaw and our head and blend together. Once I get down into here, this area, I'll actually lock the head again so I don't spill too many weights. And then we can come up and kind of finish smoothing this out right here. Okay, so now we're going to lock the lip corner and we'll do the L lip down. Unlock that. Now we only have the jaw and the lip down unlocked. And we're smoothing this out a little bit here. There we go. And I see still got a little problem there and here. Take a little more off of that maybe. Okay, cool. So there we go. We get some pretty decent deformation there now. Maybe a little extreme. Show, isolate, turn view selected off. And you know, that's mainly just because I'm really pushing these joints kind of far, and I don't have any controls or anything on them, so yeah, probably not. Yeah, but you can see here, that's pretty good, right? Pretty decent looking deformations here. Alright, so at this point, generally just unlock all these. I'll leave the neck locked. Just anything mouth related. So our lip corner, our lip down, and only on the left side. Lip up, up, up. Unlock all these. And then I'll just kind of go through and do like one last little very delicate sort of touch up here. Oh, I need to unlock the head as well. Just to get rid of some areas that I know are no good, like here, you know, I obviously need a little more, just a little more. And here you want to make sure you set your opacity down pretty far. It's better to have to do more strokes than to have to go back and you know, completely fix this whole thing. Because once you get here, you don't, last thing you want to do is start spilling weights everywhere. Or you're just going to have to end up redoing it and get real frustrated. So, so get our lip up, that looks pretty good. And I'll blend that out a little more. Lip corner is the big area you're going to focus on once you have everything kind of unlocked, just that deformation looking a little bit better. There we go. Now you can start saying, well, you know, maybe I want a little more lip corner here. You can either do that with the component editor, or you can start adding a little more. You just want to make sure you don't really get the jaw or the head into these inner circles there. Okay. There we go. Really? Oh, because I have it selected. So, now we'll go back to our default pose here. And select all these joints. That's why I save the pose library. You see something is not right there, right? So load that pose up. There we go. Okay. Cool. And then we can just start playing around with this to see, you know, what kind of deformation we're getting out of this. Yeah, we might want to give more to the lip corners, but we're getting pretty good, you know, shapes there. That's good stuff. And then lip up, for instance. Check and see what kind of sneer are you getting. You know, does that look pretty decent? You know, animators are always going to want to push this as far as they need to, so areas like this you might want to make sure we get rid of this little bit of a bump here, and I think a lot of that is just my topology. I kind of do that on purpose, or at least I do on this character, but it's not always the best to have that little bump there. Lip up. Yeah. Yeah, and then make sure you try curling everything just to see if you're getting, Yeah, nice curl, that sort of thing. Lip down here, you know, like there. Maybe this is influencing a little too much. I probably just end up pulling this out with my pose or whatever that was. You know. Okay, and once all that's done, we can just select this whole mesh, skin, edit smooth skin, and we are going to find the mirror skin weights. There we go, mirror skin weights. We'll look at this again real quick, and we will see that we have a nice distribution here. This is another great time to just go ahead and unlock maybe all your joints, and then just look at, you know, like this, like the jaw. I probably want to make sure that's a little bit smoother in there, that sort of thing. Okay. Well, cool. I hope this helps somebody. That's how I go about it. I do the same thing with my lids, my eyebrows. Everything on the eyebrows, I'm just setting them to 1, then I'm blending between the eyebrows, then I'm blending the brows into the head. Same thing with the eyelids, cheek joints, pretty much everything. I'll do, I mean, we've called it G.I. Joe weighting, where you're just quickly setting everything to 1, and then carefully setting blended values in between, and then you go ahead and smooth that into the head and the jaw, you know, into the eyelid area, into the brow area, and then finally you go in and do your detailed touch-up work. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.